Hello everyone and welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you drive an electric vehicle or, even just use a smartphone, you are relying heavily on graphite. It's actually the single largest component in a lithium-ion battery. And today, we are diving into what is honestly a massive step change in the global supply of these crucial battery materials. We're going to be looking at Blencowe Resources and their 100% owned Orem Cross graphite project over in Uganda. As you'll see, some brand new geological data, specifically this highly anticipated new Beehive JORC resource, is just completely rewriting the scale of this entire project.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The global graphite shift. 2. Orem Cross, the unique solution. 3. Ilion sets the stage. 4. The Beehive game changer. And finally, 5. The untapped future upside.
Section 1. The global graphite shift, moving away from China. So right now, China absolutely dominates this market. They're producing around 75% of the world's graphite concentrate and a staggering 95% of purified graphite. But we're currently witnessing the very first fundamental shift away from this historic reliance. Led by the U.S., Western vehicle and electronics manufacturers, the big OEMs, along with governments, are actively scrambling to find and secure large-scale ex-China supply to protect their supply chains. But here is the massive catch. That ex-China supply is severely limited.
Section 2. Orem Cross, the unique solution.
And this is exactly where Orem Cross comes in. Blencowe Resources is stepping right up to solve this massive supply chain disruption. Now, it's not just about having graphite sitting in the ground. It's about the economics of actually digging it up. And this project has some truly incredible advantages. For starters, the mining is incredibly shallow. The mineralization starts right at the surface and goes down to just 30 meters, meaning they can use super low-cost open pits. These drill results were achieved at an operating cost of under $10 per ton. That is a remarkably low margin for this industry, and it's absolutely crucial for commercial viability. Add in the fact the key infrastructure is already there, like a main paved road just 3 kilometers away and hydropower directly from the national grid, and you've got the perfect recipe for high commercial margins.
And this brilliantly illustrates the layout. Looking at this map of their 100% owned project area, you can clearly see 4 distinct deposits. Up toward the top, there's the Northern Syncline and Camp Lode, and then you have the 2 newly discovered high-grade deposits, Iayan out to the far left and Beehive way down on the right. Now, notice how Beehive is over 3 kilometers away from the other deposits? That distance is key. It just confirms the sheer, massive, sprawling extent of the graphite right across this entire license area. Section 3. Ilion sets the stage.
66%. Let that sink in. Back in March of 2026, Blencowe announced the maiden mineral resource for that Iayan deposit we just looked at. And, in one fell swoop, that single discovery boosted the project's overall resource base by a massive 66%.
The maiden INJRC JOR, which, by the way, is the internationally recognized bankable standard for reporting these things, added 16.9 million tons of inferred mineral resource at a solid grade of 6.0% total graphitic carbon, or TGC. This was a real game changer at the time. It definitively proved that Orem Cross wasn't just some single pit operation, it was a sprawling, multi-deposit, large-scale beast with a very long life ahead of it.
When you look at the 3D block model for Iayan, it really highlights this strong underground continuity. The visual data here proves the high tonnage, near-surface spread of this graphite system. But, as impressive as Iayan was, it turns out it was basically just setting the table for the main course.
Section 4. The Beehive game changer.
So the crucial point is 168%. Since they kicked off the Stage 7 drilling program, total Orem Cross JORC mineral resources have skyrocketed by an astounding 168%. That is literally the definition of a step change in scale.
The core driver of that unprecedented growth? The brand new Beehive JORC resource. Its maiden entry adds a jaw-dropping 21.3 million tons at 6.58% TGC. This single addition catapults the total Orem Cross resource base all the way up to 64.3 million tons. What's also really fantastic here is they managed to define a higher-grade chunk within Beehive, about 17.5 million tons, sitting at a very healthy 7% TGC.
For the data lovers out there, here is exactly how that new 64.3 million ton total breaks down across all 4 deposits based on geological confidence levels. Moving from inferred up to measured simply means greater and greater certainty of exactly what is in the dirt. So you've got 46.7 million tons inferred, 16.41 million tons indicated, and 1.2 million tons in that highest confidence measured category. Having this kind of robust inventory gives the company incredible optionality as they map out the life of this mine.
Now, what's really interesting about this 3D block model and cross-section for Beehive is all those thick green, yellow, orange, and red blocks. Those represent the high-grade graphite, and you can see they are sitting right up near the surface. You can visibly see just how thick the graphite system is and how continuous the grade is. It perfectly backs up their plan for a low-strip, low-cost, open-pit mining operation.
Executive Chairman Cameron Pierce really hit the nail on the head here, saying that Beehive's addition of 21.3 million near-surface tons is another major step forward, lifting the total to 64.3 million tons. And remember, guys, this isn't just about boasting that they have more rocks. This massive, world-class scale is exactly what those Western vehicle and electronics manufacturers we talked about are urgently desperate for. This gives Blencowe serious leverage in their ongoing strategic and funding discussions.
Section 5. The untapped future upside.
Now, think of the Beehive discovery like the tip of a giant iceberg. That massive 21.3 million ton resource we just geeked out over, that has only been modeled over roughly 22% of the actual Beehive target anomaly. So the burning question obviously becomes, what on earth is hiding in the remaining 78%?
Look at the modeled area marked by the drill lines. It is just a tiny fraction of that massive gray footprint which represents the total geophysical target. There is a vast, vast amount of ground right here that is literally just waiting for a drill bit.
And it's not just about how wide this thing spreads horizontally, it's about depth too. Right now, the models are mostly confined to the upper 25 to 30 meters. However, deep drilling has already proven that the mineralization continues down past 100 meters at both Ayan and Beehive. In fact, multiple drill holes had to end while they were still in the mineralization, meaning this deposit is completely open at depth. So where do we go from here? Well, Blencowe is already well advanced with their definitive feasibility study, which is basically the final economic blueprint you need before building a mine. They are optimizing this study right now, expecting it before the end of Q2 2026 so they can fully bake in this massively enlarged inventory. They're going to keep evaluating step-outs and deep drilling, all while using this newly proven massive scale to fuel their downstream pathways and commercial funding talks.
I want to leave you with this final crazy thought. Everything we have unpacked today, the 4 deposits, the 64.3 million tons, the incredible game changers at Beehive and Ayan, every single bit of it comes from drilling just 2% of the total project license area. A staggering 98% remains completely untested. With the Western world practically begging for ex-China graphite, how big could Orum's Cross ultimately become? It's a completely fascinating question, and for sure one we will be watching very, very closely. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.